Welcome to another Toolkit Tuesday. Dave Etkin. I'm the director here at the Louisville Small Business Development Center. I'm joined here with my comrade Claire Bridges, also a business coach here at the Louisville Center. I'd like to introduce our good friend, Sara Hall, for joining us today. Thanks for joining us, Sara.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah, so we got a lot to talk about today. When you're starting or growing a business, there are, tons of choices on tools and tips and tricks. And so we thought we'd bring in an expert to kind of throw some of that out and see what we can come up with. It's always good to see another perspective. And so thank you for coming, Sara.
Thank you.
I'm just going to go ahead and turn it over to you, and we'll just get started. And again, if you have any questions or comments, just put them in the chat and we'll get right to it.
All right, perfect. Thank you, Dave. All right, I'm going to share my screen. Let me know that you can see it.
There you go. Looks great.
All right, we're in. Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, and like Dave said, if you have any questions or any input, if you've worked with any of these platforms yourself and you have tips or anything, just let me know. You can drop them in the chat as well. And then, of course, for the Q&A at the end, we will talk some more. So I'm Sara. I'm excited to be here today, and I'm going to talk about utilizing platforms and putting systems into your business. So that's why I've got building a strong foundation, essential tools and platforms for startups. Now, a lot of these are, I tried to put about 2 options for each kind of topic. But a lot of them are free. So it's something you can build on. It's not a lot of overhead. When you're starting off, you don't have a ton of money to put out there. Even myself as a virtual assistant, everything's virtual, but still things cost money. So I was trying to do workarounds, and there's ways to do it. So I'm also going to have some tips on how to not be overwhelmed with it all. Because as we know, with Googling anything, it's overwhelming. So just a little bit about myself. That's my little family over there. I was born and raised here in Louisville, graduated from U of L and attended graduate school in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Fun fact, I'm a certified athletic trainer. Used to work with athletes, their injuries in the medical field. And after Chattanooga, I made my way back home. I worked in corporate in the medical field for 10 plus years. And about 2 years ago, I took my OBM, which is online business manager and virtual assistant business, full time. After it was a side hustle. So what I do now is I help business owners take back their time by creating organization in their business and helping with back-end business support. So before we start, a lot of these are general. They're not specific to any one type of business. So I just want to give you options with each type of software. But just know you don't have to try it all. That's too much. But if you can think about, write down what your business needs at this moment, you don't even have to think about the future just yet, but what you need right now to help you in ease of mind. You can grow into any of these, and a lot of them are free, like I said, because shelling out a bunch of money right now, or even just a couple years into your business, can be a lot. So, and of course, at any point in your business, you're never married to one software. So if you start it 2 years down the road, and you hate it, you can move on to something else. But just know that every month, something shiny is going to come up, something new, something shiny, and you're going to think, oh, maybe I'll try that. Sometimes that's just too much. So if something's working, there's nothing wrong with sticking with it for the whole lifetime of your business. But why do I need these systems in place anyways? I just want to get started and make money. I understand that. But don't let the lack of systems hold you back. So when I say that, that is not anything with like logistics, legal, taxes, anything like that. That's where the small business development system comes in. They're the experts there. They can tell you where to, lead you there. But just the systems inside your bubble, inside your business, don't let the lack of them hold you back. For a couple of months, it would hold me back in the research phase of, oh, what should I be doing right now? What should I start with to start my business? And it goes, oh, you need a website. Okay. So I spent time on a website instead of just telling people, oh, this is what I'm doing. Do you need support? How can I help you? So if you need and want to start making money, let's do it. You can do it. And these systems can come as you move forward. So don't get stuck in that phase. Now down the road, as you grow, as your business grows, you will need systems in place. So as I'm talking today, I'll say systems and workflows. So kind of what I mean with that is just your framework within your business, how you do things daily, weekly, quarterly. And that's strictly what you do. Doesn't matter what anybody else does, how you see it, it's what you do. And platforms is just the software or the apps used to kind of create that system in your business. So systems in place will make your life easier as you grow, as your revenue grows, as you train and onboard a team, but also for a consistent customer service, whether you're service-based, you're product-based, you want to make sure your customers get the service you want to give. So, I mean, that's typically main priority as a business owner. So that just helps kind of make that easier as time goes on. And tips for utilizing each platform. It'll be a lot today. I try not to overwhelm. I gave, like I said, about 2 options for each, but you don't have to use them all. I want you to experiment, use trial periods. Usually trial periods aren't enough for me, so I'll pay for maybe a month, because a lot of them do a month to month. Pay for a month, really test it out, utilize it, ask for help, and just see how it works in your daily workflow. Also use the help option. That chat option is my best friend. Now, I can read articles all day about how to do this, but if that chat and that person, that one-to-one can help, I'm in. They're going to give me a better workflow. Oh, we've got this option coming up. So that helps too. But also, when in doubt, YouTube is a huge resource. Helps me in business, but also personally, it helped me change a headlight in my car. So, and again, with all of these today, you don't have to learn every platform. You don't have to use every platform. If something works, you stick with it. And most of these tools can grow with you. Whether you started with a free plan, I still have several plans that are free. And I can always pivot, especially as I'm growing a team. Maybe I pay for more money, because that's usually where money comes involved. If you're growing a team, you're going to have a lot of users. That's when tools start to cost money. But also automations makes your life easier. And then a really big one is starting early on SOPs, your standard operating procedures, which doesn't have to be intimidating or anything fancy. It can be a Google Doc with a 1, 2, 3 that gets it out of your brain. So you have the brain space, puts it on paper, and helps you just check it off. As you're onboarding somebody, let's check it off. Okay, I did this. But it also helps when you bring on your team, and if anyone steps in while you're away, say you have family emergency or you're on vacation and you want someone to come in, cover while you're away, they've got everything at their fingertips, and you can focus then on what you need to. So let's dive in. So take some notes. Again, we'll have Q&A at the end. Any questions you might have, feel free to ask, or any input. I may not know all the answers, but I can usually find an answer from somebody. So grab your beverage and a cute little pet if you got one with their listening ears. So starting off, email seems pretty simple. And I know you'll hear me say Google so much in this presentation, so I'll apologize now, but I use Google for everything. I did start with Outlook early on in my business. And again, it's a free resource. Gmail can be free. I do pay for Google Workspace, but it's $6 to $7 a month, because I am at the lowest tier. I'm still at Business Starter, and I've been at that for about 3 years now. The best part about that is that I have more memory in my drive, my email, but also it gives me a way to customize. So of course, with your free Gmail, you've got sarahhall@gmail.com. When you pay for it, I've got sarah@sarahhallvirtual.com. So it matches my website and my social media. It just kind of makes it more cohesive, and to me, it's pretty. That's just me though. So I know I did get an email that they are changing prices soon, but it's not a huge jump. It's maybe another $1. So I think instead of $6.36, it's about $7.20 for that business starter. But as you move up in that, there's more customization, there's more options. And of course, as you bring on team members, you may need that. So email, always a good option to start at. Pretty simple and can always be free. Cloud-based storage, you're going to want to store all your digital documents. And of course, all of these have a phone app, which that makes me very happy. I love any kind of app, but it makes it easy in case I am, at the doctor's office with my kid, or something happens where I need to be out of the office. I can hit everything I need to. I need this document. I'll copy this over here, write an email. So I use Google Drive, but again, with your Microsoft 365 and everything with that, you've got OneDrive. Dropbox, I've used here and there with some clients, and it's very pretty, and I like it for graphics. But of course, all of these do the same thing. So whatever interface makes you happy and works well, that's the one you'll need. Project management. So this is the only slide I have pretty pictures on, pretty much, but I use this every day. I use Asana. I used to use Trello because it's really pretty. And it's got this board view, and it's the only view it does. It probably does more now, but I haven't used it, like I said, for about 2 years. They each have free options, but for Asana, I like the My Task option, where it lists out based on your due date what you need to have done. Now you can do a board view just like this. You can do list view. They've got different options, as you can see, a timeline, calendar. Once you pay for it, you've got all sorts of options, automations. Again, this is something I've never paid for, and I have brought clients into it. I'll have my team on there, and I haven't had to pay for it at all. But here, it holds me accountable, and I can put personal and business information here. So instead of me having all the sticky notes, which I still do, don't get me wrong, but once a week, I'm like, okay, let's put this in. Let's put a due date onto this from these sticky notes, put it in Asana, brain dump, and it's all there in one spot versus reminders on my phone, sticky notes, all of that. So that helps with my brain space. Now, customer relationship management, CRM for short, this just houses client information. A lot of these, they've got a lot of tools that you can do within it. My favorite, I was introduced to this early on, was Dubsado. That's what I still use. But what I like about it is you can sign up for free and still get 3 free clients in there. You can have them sign contracts through there. You can send emails. They have a scheduler. So they've got all these options to kind of house in one to streamline my day. So if I'm onboarding a client, it's all housed in Dubsado. Same for HoneyBook, but HoneyBook, they have a free trial. They don't have a free option, but they run a lot of specials. But I also put Google Drive and Google Sheets on here because that's how I started as well. Just because as a virtual assistant, I have monthly clients, so I'm not onboarding a whole lot. But of course, if you're product based or you are doing something with new clients each month, you're going to want to think about having a CRM that can keep up with you, because Google Drive and Google Sheets is very manual. So if that's something you need, something with more automation, that was the first big thing I purchased for my business, was a CRM, so I could, again, keep the brain space, but then just know that everything is housed in one. Electronic signatures, kind of segue into this because I use my CRM for this, but also if you don't have the money to shell out for a CRM, because they can be around $300 or more. If you need contracts signed, you've got JotForm. So they have a free option, but you can only have, I believe, it's 5 forms a month. So if you have contracts to be signed, you can put a template in there, edit it as you need to for each client, and send it off to them. Super easy. easier than it used to be of just like sending a PDF. They had to print it, they had to sign it, and then send it back to you. Also, I put DocuSign on here. They only have a free trial, but it's a very popular one, very user-friendly. So again, if you don't want to spend that money, there's a free option. Scheduler is very important. It's going to help you so much. It integrates with your calendar, so you don't have to do the back and forth email with someone. Oh, can you meet on this day? I've got this availability. What have you got? That's breaking up your workday. And so what these do, they integrate with your calendar. I early on worked with, and still do, work with Calendly. It's a free option. You can have different options for like an onboarding call, a discovery call, a coffee chat. With the free option, you only get one type of call. So sometimes I would just do, okay, this is it for a discovery call. Next week, I'll change it to a coffee chat. So that will not mess up anything. It stays with your calendar. They can compare it to their calendars, and it sends reminders to them once they find a time that works for them. So these are a lifesaver. Acuity is another one. I think it's so pretty. I think they do not have a free option, probably because they are so pretty, but similar to Calendly, but I think it's very user-friendly. And Doodle is also fun in that you can do polls for groups. I have a client that does this for like little masterminds she'll put together. I think it's so brilliant, but she's like, okay, we've got these days available. Choose which days work with you, and then we'll compare everybody's, if what day works best for everybody. If we can find one day that works, perfect. So I love Doodle for that. It's kind of a different kind of option if you need it. Now, e-commerce, selling goods online, I don't do this, but I am no expert on this. I do have a client that she's a jewelry designer, and she has taken on, of course, doing Shopify. That's the one you hear about the most. A lot of these have so many options. Shopify and WooCommerce, you do have to pay for it, but in it, you have a store, your inventory, website, reports, discount codes. There's so many things that are housed in one that I actually recommend for these. And she did this as well, getting an expert to set it up for them. That is money, but it takes the headache off of you. And it's just set up for you to then just do the month to month. And they'll kind of give you best tips for it. But you also have Etsy, you have Amazon. There's actually a surprisingly large amount of small business owners that are on Amazon and selling on Amazon. So this is definitely not my wheelhouse, but I know there are options out there and experts to help you with this. Communication. Of course, you'll see on there email. I use a separate communication tool so that I can create boundaries with my clients. That's been a huge thing for me because in corporate, I never had boundaries. I never learned about them. I would answer calls or emails at 9 p.m. And so I didn't learn until my own business what a boundary was, how to do it. So I do work with some local business owners. So they have my cell phone number just for, hey, I'll meet you here. But I use a lot of these to kind of separate work from personal. So I'm not getting work texts. And I know if I go to these Slack, Boxer, it's just business. So that's where I can find that information. So all of these are messaging, basically text messages housed in a separate app. Slack they've got a lot of channels. It's great for a team. Boxer I use, it's fairly user-friendly, easy to set up. You can use messaging like text message, but also voice. And then Microsoft Teams is similar to Slack in that it's text, but also you can do calls through Microsoft Teams as well. And then, of course, I still communicate through email. That'll never end. So, but with video meetings, I used free Zoom for ages. I now use Google Meet because I pay for Google Workspace. I get Google Meet through that. So, but you can use any of these for free. So Zoom limits it to 45 minutes. And And then if you need to, if you're going, it gives you a time if you're close to it ending, like 5 minutes to go until it's been 45 minutes. You can both then log out and log back in. It's a nuisance, but it works. Again, it's free, it's helpful. And then Google Meet and Microsoft Teams, last I checked, you can have a 60-minute call for free. So none of these cost money that you need to use. Like I said, I pay for Google Meet technically for my Google Workspace, but nothing else on here have I really paid for. Social media scheduling. This is a fun one. I still use Meta Business Suite for my own, and a lot of my clients as well. We're looking outside of Meta. So I've got some other options on there. I've used Later. It's very pretty, very easy to use. And the calendar view is very useful. Publer, I think I'm saying it right, was just introduced to me, and I've been going back and forth, just learning more about them. Customer service was really good. And it's honestly for you to attach a lot, not just Facebook or Instagram, it's LinkedIn, your Pinterest, YouTube, all of that can be like integrated into Publer, and you can have it all in one. So Meta, they've just done so much with it, and it's capable of so many things. It's just kind of clunky. So that's my only dislike about it, but it gets the job done, and I still continue to use it just because I know it well and it does what I need it to. But it also gives you analytics of what works best for you, what your clients like, what posts really work well. Email marketing. So this is basically for you to gather emails, get an email list, and nurture your clients. So it's not just selling to your clients or just saying, hey, these are the deals I've got going on right now. But it can also just be, I've got a blog. I found some really good information about what's going on in your business or in that realm. It's a good way to just communicate with them and make them feel special. Both of these are free. I've used both. MailChimp, I feel like, is always the first one people go to, and it's worked well for me. So like I said, I've used both, continue to use both, and free option. The only thing with the free option is you have to manually send out the email versus scheduling. So if you had 10 emails written out and you're like, okay, I'm going to send these for the rest of the year. You'd have to actually get up. If you're going to send it at 7 a.m., you have to get up, set an alarm, send it out at 7 a.m. versus, okay, you could schedule it out through the end of the year. You'd never have to think about it again. So it's kind of that thing of, okay, do I want this brain space or do I not? So again, if you don't have the money for it, that's okay. Website. This is showing off what you've got. This is what I got stuck on early on in my business. It's what I kept reading of, oh, you need to have a website before you really get out there. So I created one. I haven't really updated it since 2018. But I started with WordPress. I'm happy with WordPress. It has a free option. I ended up paying for it to purchase my domain. So it could be, because they'll give you a domain for free. It's just longer and not as pretty. But again, that's not a huge deal, honestly. But you can house a blog there, your WordPress site. Squarespace is very user-friendly, only has a free trial. But again, didn't realize I would say this so much, but Squarespace it's so pretty. But it's less clunky than WordPress. I feel like it's really easy for anyone to come into a Squarespace and do what you need to for your website. But also, and I've never used this option, but Canva has the option for a one-page website for free. You have the option for a free domain as well. So you can create it all in there and have your website there. I've had people not do a website and just create a Google Doc stating what their services are. And that's free. You can send it out to whoever you need to, link it in your social media. So it's not as important as just really getting out there and talking about your business, what you're excited about, and how you can help. So I'm glad I finally got over that hump. And then payment processing, so important. We want to get paid. I've used PayPal since the beginning. I used to do my invoices through there. You can create a template. Of course, you'd have to manually send it each month or based upon how often you get paid. Mine's a monthly retainer. So I would send it on the first of every month. And I would spend about an hour that morning sending it off to clients, making sure it's correct. I also use Stripe. Both of these are integrated with my CRM. So now, because of my CRM, I can automate invoicing and everything with that. But that, again, just happened within the last year or so for those automations and just to kind of take that off my plate. So for the longest time, it was PayPal, did my own invoices. I kept a Google Sheet just to make sure everybody had paid, and it was all manual. It was simple, and I'll still fall back on that sometimes now, just in case. And then these are just random platforms that I have used so much. They didn't really have a place to be homed in this presentation, but Loom is a screen recorder. I use this so much for clients. If I have a question and I'm like, I just need you to see what I'm seeing, it will just record your screen. You can record the screen, you're talking over it, and you can edit it as you need to, push two together. There's so much capability, and it is free. You can have 25 videos total. So again, in all these years, I will delete old videos that I don't need anymore and just continue to use it for free. And it's worked wonderfully. I believe it's a 5-minute time limit for those videos. But again, you can create a couple. If you want to pay for it, it's not outrageous. But again, I haven't paid for it. So Scribe has a screen capture and documentation, and I recommend this for anybody for SOPs. It's super easy. It's just taking a video of what you're doing, taking those screen caps and documenting it. You can edit as you need to, make notes so that you can, make it your own SOP. But then because of course you're doing it all the time, you get it done, set it off, and you've got that SOP in your Google Drive for whoever may need it. Canva, of course, that's what I made this presentation on. I am in Canva every day for design, for social media, flyers. As I said, you can create a website, videos. There's so much to do in Canva. I eventually did pay for this one. I forget what the pricing is now, but you can see the options. But of course, with how much I'm in this, I wanted to pay for it. Some people may never need to use it, but it is useful for social media, and there is a free option. And you could easily get away with using just the free option for years. Of course, Google, you knew I had to come back to Google. I use Google Forms for questionnaires sometimes. If it's just like if I'm doing market research and I want to send it out to people, create a Google form. It houses all those answers within that form, so I can easily find them, send it out to people. I can shoot them a text about it, email, put it up on social media. And then Google Sheets, I have used for accounting, like still to this day. So I have this pretty sheet that I put together. It doesn't even have to be pretty, but a sheet that I put together for my taxes every year, just keeping account of everything that I've done. So I can have this printed out, take to my wonderful tax lady, and she does what she needs with it. So Google all the way for me. LastPass is for passwords to safely store them. It can be an extension. I use Chrome for everything. And it's an extension on your Chrome, safely stores your passwords, and you can share them without having to show your password, which is, I'll do that with clients. If I'm like, if you don't want me to see the password, that's absolutely fine. LastPass will fill it in and I don't see a thing. It just gets me in where I need the access. And then Toggle is a time tracker. I use this daily, definitely for client work, but also just for myself. So I know how long something takes. That's how I know when I would manually invoice clients and get all that together, it took an hour because I would time track it and see where I'm using my time, where I'm wasting time. I still do that. But just to kind of see my day-to-day and what kind of patterns I have. So another one I didn't add on here is Bitly, Bitly, but it shortens websites. So if you do a free domain on WordPress, you can then take that long domain they give you, that URL, put it into Bitly and make it your own for free. And I still use that for free. So just another option if you need it. So now that I have filled your head with so many platforms, just kind of in summary, what I have found working with a variety of business owners is that systems are the foundation of a well-organized and successful business. If you don't feel organized right now, that's okay. I don't either. It doesn't mean you're not successful. It's just going to help you down the line as you continue to grow and expand, to just kind of have your ducks in a row, the ones that you can, because we're going to feel scattered at all times. But what you can organize and make, kind of box up pretty will make your life easier, especially as you bring on a team, if you want a team. But it also keeps things efficient, consistent as you're scaling, helps with customer satisfaction. If they know what to expect each time they're working with you, whether it is a product, if it's service-based, then that's the customer for life. And they'll also refer out to you and help just continue to keep you building. So implementing systems is an investment, not just for money, but also time. So that you aren't just constantly in the flow of doing these manual systems. Yes, money will at some point probably have to be involved, but also take your time back. So if you have these systems in place, you know how it works, you can pump it out really, really easy. So that's why I love systems, because I need that, or else I'll be all over the place. But also the main thing, if you become overwhelmed, just keep it simple. Take it back to what worked, or if it's a Post-it note, that's fine. Don't let what other people are doing affect what you're doing or change your mind. If you're like, well, this doesn't seem right. If it's working for you, that is all that matters. So if you're trying a new platform and you're like, oh, this is too much, just stop, ask for help, or just shut it down completely. Come back later if you want, but go back to what you know and what works best. And then that's it. I have my email here. If you have any questions that you think of later, you can definitely email me, or any questions or anything of that sort. But I think now we have time for questions, if anybody has any.
That was a lot.
It was a lot. It was a lot.
That was a lot. That's great. So yeah, guys, if you have any questions or comments, just put them in the chat there. I'm looking at it now. Got a few things popping up. So since I asked the questions, I always ask my question first. So,
right.
Just a little backstory, I don't know, a few months ago, my team and I, Claire included, we got together and I was asking, what's our biggest issue going forward? And everyone mentioned, having enough time to do what you need to do. And that's been kind of my quest here lately, is to go through that, to come up with strategies and stuff to minimize the time. And so the slides you were talking about, Asana and Trello and project management in whole, really interest me. That's something I've kind of looked at and have been looking at here lately. So you use Asana a lot. So humor me and just tell me quickly, how do you organize your Asana, your the way that you had it set up was in a Kanban boards type of format. Mm-hmm. So talk me through that whole thing and how it will help people if they do it that way.
So I do mine in the sense of, do you want me, I could even share my screen, or is that too aggressive?
Let's get aggressive here, Sarah.
Let's get aggressive. Okay.
Nobody can talk
Uh,
to us other than through the chat, so we're okay.
okay. So let me. Hold on, let me change this real quick.
And I'm gonna, while you're doing that, I'm gonna ask you this question as part of this question. So do you organize your system through that? Is that the top of the funnel, your Asana?
Yes, that is where I brain dump. I have all my client work. It's personal stuff I have on there. Here, and I'll go ahead and share because I even put my back end business information in there as well.
Okay.
So, okay, can you see
Looks good. Yeah.
Asana? Okay, perfect. So I use Asana just because it works with my brain and visually for me. Of course, don't ignore all these red over here. But I love this, and this could be overwhelming for people, but my task, this is where I go to daily. I'm just going to close that because that's overwhelming, but this is like what's due this week, and it's based by today, what's late, obviously, and then what's going into tomorrow. So this is client work, and then this is my business. And also, I mean, I'll have clients email me and be like, hey, can we do this? You can send an email to your Asana and it'll pop up. I make its own little space for it. And then you can assign it to yourself so that I can have everything housed here. You've got different boards, like a content calendar. I brain dump there. This is my back end business information of to do, holidays when I'm out of town, taxes, because who remembers when those are supposed to happen? But then also I'll schedule out my work week. As you can tell, I love colorful things, so I'll put emojis, but just kind of what my week looks like for my client work. And you can also have teams over here, which I've created this. You don't have to have this, but I've done this because I'll be bringing on a team member. But this is Sara Hall Virtual, my business information here, but then my clients are all housed here. This is something else, but so then you can also have a personal project. You just create projects as you need to. You'll see all of these. And I just like how it looks to me. It makes me happy. So for each client, I'll create a template of what it'll look like, new client. And this is basically it. You'll have brain dumps, what goals we have coming, what I'm working on right now. Oh, there's goals, just future to-dos. This is where I'll keep reminders for birthdays or our work anniversary. So stuff like that, that I know this is where I'm going to find all my information. And of course, you come in here. This is one that I've invited my client to, so we can talk in here as well. We can tag each other. They'll pull up, you can tag them. You've got the due dates, subtasks. So this is where I'll house all my SOPs as well on how to onboard new clients and stuff like that. So that's probably a lot too. So, like I said, feel free to email me if y'all have any questions. But like I said, this is where I've just thrown my onboarding. It's nothing official, but it is at least, okay, I've got this step done. I've got this step done. Offboarding. So like I said, it doesn't have to be anything pretty, as much as I love pretty things. But it's at least somewhere that I'm like, okay, when I bring on a team member, I've got this down, we're good to go, or I just forget. Like you said, we're wearing all the hats as a business owner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is really cool because I just finished this book by Tiago Forte. It's called Build a Second Brain, and he uses a different solution called Notion, but it's what you've done is exactly what he was recommending. And the idea is to, your brain is for making ideas, not holding them in there, so the more you can get out and get into a normal place, like what you've built is really helpful to have other, because these databases are searchable. You can, if you're not sure what you're looking for, you can search in there. And
Yes.
an interesting point was, and I never thought about this, but when, we've all seen the pictures of Leonardo da Vinci's drawings, that was in his notebook. And this was a common thing back in history called a commonplace book, where you just put ideas and things in one place. And you had this book with all this kind of, thoughts and observations in there. And you can just set this up in Asana. I think that's fabulous, what you've done there. So Daniel has a question. Can you keep active versus I guess inactive prospects in the client section of your?
So what I'll do for that, if I show it on here, because you can archive any project that you make. Let me share that again. Shouldn't have even taken it off. That was silly.
That's the way it goes.
Y'all don't need to see my face. So like I said, you can go into any client and you can archive it, and it doesn't go anywhere. It just pops off the screen. So you can do that and then unarchive it, because I always want to keep that information. I don't tend to delete anything, which is good and bad. Not sure if I recommend that for everybody, but yeah, like I said, the easiest thing would be to archive. I have had some clients, you could also create a different team to house those archived clients. So you could do that as well. There's a lot of variety that you could do. So that's actually a really good question of that. And I've just always either archived it, or some people will actually just change the name and like type in just archive, and just to keep it up on their board. It's just kind of your preference. That to me is it's gonna hurt my brain. But so I need to have it like off the screen, but able to pull it back up as needed. And just like David said, I think, well, now can't get to it, but you've got this search bar, which is huge. You can search a project. If you're like, I created a task, I have no idea where it's at, and you just search, it's going to pull up, anything you need. And it'll take you straight to it.
Yeah.
So you're like, oh, there it is. Just needed one word. Thank goodness. So
because we all spend so much time looking for stuff. I know. I do.
Right. So yeah. Good question.
That is. Let's see, Melanie. How do you handle or keep track of taxes, and what can you write off, etc.?
Yes. So like I said, I talked to my I always call her tax lady. That's not her official name. She's a wonderful woman. But I talked to her actually spoke to her first of, should I be an LLC? Like, what should I be? But then also she told me, oh, you should then hold on to your Schedule C. What you should basically, all this verbiage for, okay, what do you need to know for mileage, tax write-off, any courses I'm taking? I just put it all in a Google sheet. It's not pretty, but it's got just basically courses, and I will list out just bullet points of any courses I'm taking, what I've paid for them, mileage I'll put over here, any networking, just things that I need to keep. When I bought a computer, kept up with that. So it is all in a Google sheet, and I just labeled it according to the Schedule C, like breakdown. And that's how and then she and I together just tweaked it on what she needed more detail on, and stuff like that. So that was definitely not just all me creating it. And I know again, Google, some people have some other ideas too of how you could break that down, but that's what's worked really well for me and her.
Awesome. Let me ask you this question. So you've shown us a ton of stuff, and if someone wanted to get started putting the system together, where does your system start, and then what's the next step, and maybe the next step?
Would you say just like starting a business? Where should they?
Let's say they have a business, and you've shown us a ton of different things that you can use to kind of put a system in place to kind of help you manage all this stuff. Where do you start? Do start with an Asana account and use that to build out from, or where do you go from? And then how does the system work? How does your system?
Okay. Yeah, because I know everybody, just like I keep saying, everybody's brain works differently. What works best for me is just a huge brain dump of, okay, what do I think I need? What do I really need? And that's where I always go back to Asana, which used to be just a ton of notebooks, which I still keep a paper planner. I will never go away from that. But a lot of it's just in Asana brain dump. Okay, this is what I need. And then underneath of it, I would do a subtask of, okay, so to keep my projects, I do Asana. Customer relations, I need a Dubsado. And then I'm like, well, do I need a free one? A lot of them give a really great breakdown of what's a free option give you versus paid. And of course, me I'm virtual. It's just me, as I don't have any team members yet. I can still stick with the free option. So that's kind of how my systems move through. I know the most important to me were always project management and customer relationship. So that those stay consistent, and they can be a part of things as well. Like I said, I can invite them to Asana. We've got the back and forth, because everything else is communication, email, that's easy. So those are kind of the things I would start with, especially your project. Everybody always has a project going. If it's personal, business, let's house it there and take it out of your brain. And it's got an app. So like I said, you just pop it in there. I'm on a walk and I'm like, oh yeah, I need to get this out, pop it in there. So that's usually where I would start with any systems.
Okay. And what's your advice to someone who has to manage multiple projects? How do you do that? Once at one time.
Try not to go crazy. No, but again, that's where I have to fall back on. For me, I feel like I just keep saying Asana. I swear I have no relationship with Asana. But again, I'm a business owner. I'm a mom. We're looking into homeschooling. Like that seems like a lot of projects. And then within those projects, I've got 6 clients that I need to focus on daily. So that's where I need the visual as well of, okay, I need to work on this, my 3 main priorities for the day, because I can't do everything. But that's where Asana or some sort of project management helps, because it's colorful and shows me, okay, you've done this. Now we have this client you need to kind of shift your focus to, think about this. So that's actually a really good question to like think about. Yeah, I'm just trying to have those boundaries with yourself of like, okay, I'm going to focus on them for an hour and then I need to move on to the next one. And that's where I'll use Toggle, because they actually I'm sure you all have heard of like the Pomodoro method. Yes. 25 minutes on. Because I have days where I can't even focus for 10 minutes, but like you're 25 minutes on, focus on that client, even if you don't want to, and you've done it. So then Toggle has that. I'm in my Asana and I know this is where I need to focus. So that's what usually keeps me on point. Not that that's for everybody, but
I like that.
Thank you.
One more off-topic question, and then there's another question. But how do you deal with like, do you have issues with procrastination, or what's your time management tips and tricks that you use other than Asana to kind of get things done?
Oh man, I am always working on this daily. Because I mean, I'm sure you've all felt it where you're just like, I don't want to do a thing today. And again, I started this business for flexibility with me, my children. I've never done a normal 9 to 5. So, but I still feel that guilt if I'm like, I should be working right now, right? Instead of just dawdling or eating lunch, like having a good lunch to yourself. So I use the Pomodoro method, but also I try to just tell myself that I am the CEO of this. There's nothing is an emergency in what I'm doing. So, if you've got family things coming up, we had that yesterday, and I'm like, you know what? I'll get to it when I get to it. Nothing's an emergency. I know my priorities for the day. So that's a big thing too, of learning, okay, what really is priority? When is this project need to be done? I'll be transparent. These slides were finished this morning. So, so one, I procrastinated, and two, like life got busy. So I was like, oh gosh. So thankfully I was excited to be here and talk about this. So that helps. But some days I just don't want to do the work. So that's where I'll kind of set that 25 minutes, and then I'll go outside and walk my dog or like just sit there and like veg out. So I think too, just being able to be like, you know what, nothing's an emergency. And I built this business for flexibility, and I want it to make me happy. I got so burnt out in corporate, and I won't go off in that, but I got so burnt out because I did too much. I didn't create boundaries for myself. When you can do this as a business owner, you're the CEO of your life. So, make it how you want, and don't feel guilty if you see somebody else working and you're like, no, I just want to enjoy my coffee right now. And then I'll get to work.
Thank you for that. Melanie, your question is great. You are someone out to my own little heart here, because this is another question I've been working on too. It's like, how do you schedule your day? Do you block schedule, or what do you do?
A lot of it, I've never been able to block schedule, as people talk about. It's just not how my brain works. Yeah. And then I feel guilty that I can't do it. But I know a lot of my day is scheduled around my kids. I've got one in first grade, but then I've got one in preschool, just 3 days a week. So, a lot of my work is just in like little pockets during the day. So like today I've got all day because my mother-in-law is going to pick her up from school. So I know this is a long day. I can have meetings because I don't have my kids. So a lot of that's based on what my personal day looks like. And then, kind of what days by Friday, I don't want to do a thing. Like, I know myself personally, I don't want to do a thing. So I'm going to do anything in the morning that doesn't take a whole lot of brain space. So that's scheduling social media, not creating it, just scheduling it, or just doing data entry. So it's also knowing yourself, what time of the day works well for you. After lunch, I'm not a great person to really talk to because I'm ready for bed already. So again, I know that about myself. So I don't do a whole lot of block scheduling, but I will write down, like I said, in my paper planner, okay, these are the 3 things I need to get done today. And it is something personal, cook dinner, and then 2 things for work. And if I get those done, I have nailed it today. So it's just picking those pockets of time that I can, when my kids aren't here is my biggest thing right now. That's just where I'm at in life right now.
Mhm.
But I can never pump out like content creation in 4 hours. I can't do that. So, but I know some people that can, and that's beautiful.
Yeah.
So,
let's see. Kit has a question. Can you use those email marketing channels to send mass emails that does not tag everyone in the reply?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you can. Yeah, I know what you're saying. So it looks personally made to them. Yes.
Yeah.
And I know in Google, you do have to pay for it. They also do a mail merge. I don't think it's in the business starter, the one I have, because I can't do it, but maybe the one above, but you can do that as well. And it looks like it's personally written to them. They don't see the other emails, but those you can as well. And it just shows that email for free.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And Takara said, yeah, MailChimp does it. Yep. And I'm in MailerLite, and I know they do it too. So that's the beautiful thing about it.
Right. Well, so the questions, look, we're top of the hour. So, Claire, do you have anything we need to add?
We will send the recording out. Anyone who's registered for it, you'll get the recording. I think someone asked here, would you also get the slides? I'm sure they would like to kind of have a laundry list of some of those products that you discussed.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
And thank you all for being here and the questions, and your input. Thank you so much.
Yeah, this was
Yeah.
great fun. This was fun, Sarah. You are a remarkable person to put all this, to do what you do and have all these tools and stuff to share. So I really
Thank you
appreciate
so
it.
much. Everyone deserves a nap after everything I just gave.
If you
We'll
say
take that
so.
as an order.
Done.
Okay. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining another Toolkit Tuesday. I'm so thankful that you guys came today, and look for the recording later on, probably tomorrow, and the slides. And please reach out to Sarah. She's a great resource and she'd love to hear from you. And Clara now, or the rest of the SBDC team here is here waiting to help you as well. So don't be a stranger. We're looking forward to speaking to you. So thank you again, Sarah. And thank you, Claire.
Thank you, Sarah.
Let's all go take naps.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.